Welcome to Codex, a history of video games. My name is Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta.
And this week, we are here to talk about the Nintendo DS. But first, we got some fan mail here. We missed some Wii U games. Mike, you want to enlighten us?
We got two separate emails. The first is from Matt from Japan, and then we also got one from Eric. And I don't know if he's comfortable with me saying his last name, so I'm not going to say it, you know? I don't want to blow people up like that, all right. You know?
Yep.
But we're going to go through Matt's games, and Matt and Eric overlapped and have like-minded thoughts, so I'm going to read them together when we get to those games. The first game is what Matt mentions is Yoshi's Woolly World. And this is, and I'm going to read straight from Matt's email because I want to give Matt the authorship credit here, okay? A Yoshi game that plays like a traditional Yoshi's Island style platformer. It features a unique yarn art style. I remember this game now that I think about it. And it looks really cool. There was also hand-knit yarn Yoshi amiibos released alongside the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there's also a 3DS port of the game with extra levels called Yoshi and Poochie's Woolly World. And there is a spiritual successor to the game that has just came out on the Switch called Yoshi's Crafty World. So if you're into arts and crafts and adorable cartoon dinosaurs, this is the game for you.
I just played the demo for Yoshi's Crafted World, and man, it is adorable. It is probably the cutest game I've ever seen.
You know, I'm all about cute games. They make my heart cry. Tears of joy.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I think that's what it is, right? And this is a successor to the Kirby Canvas Curse for the DS. In this game, Kirby takes on the form of a ball, and you have to use the touchscreen and stylus to draw paths for help him navigate through levels. And it also features an adorable claymation art style. If you got Yoshi in a game, it's going to be an adorable art style. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, same with Kirby.
It's the way to go. Okay. Pikmin 3, which is more Pikmin after the series skipped out on the Wii, and its biggest crime was it came out on the Wii U and no one played it, but hopefully it gets a Switch port, is what Matt says.
You know, I actually did play Pikmin 3. It's the Pikmin I have played the most of.
Really?
Which isn't saying a whole lot because I probably put 2 or 3 hours into it. It was fun. It's another one of those kind of like cool art style, like it feels like you're playing with kind of action figures, the way they do a lot of tilt shift blurring, so that makes it feel like these are like small toys instead of like realistic things.
I like that.
It's fun.
I like that a lot. Actually, I'm a big fan. Big fan of the crazy action figure-y art
I got
style.
it for free somehow. There was some sort of promotion that they did, and there was like you can pick from these 3 games, and I think Pikmin was easily the better one.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I don't remember what that promotion was, so that's how I got it anyway.
Nice. Free promotions are always a plus. The next game is Bayonetta 2. And both Matt and Eric mentioned it. I'll talk about Matt's first. Matt says it was developed by Platinum Games and was originally canceled by Sega. But then Nintendo funded it and helped publish the game. It and Bayonetta 1 were re-released on the Switch as a double pack, and Bayonetta 3 is currently in development with plans to release on the Switch as well. Also, the character Bayonetta is a playable character in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and is also in Smash Ultimate because Smash Ultimate has every single character in it. Okay.
Yep.
Eric mentions Bayonetta 2, and he says, I think one of the bigger things that we missed was the fact that not only did Nintendo fund the development to the sequel, but it was a very sexualized character for an action game, but that they actually partnered officially with Playboy for a fully condoned photo shoot for the game, like a not safe for work photo shoot.
Wow.
Where there's a model and she plays Bayonetta. He sent us a link. I clicked on the link. I wasn't afraid to click on the link, you know? And it's just like, it's not like naked or anything, but it's definitely like scantily clad. You know,
it's risque.
But yeah, it was definitely a strange chapter in Nintendo history, is how Eric put it. And I would fully agree. You wouldn't think Nintendo and Playboy would team up.
You wouldn't, but hey, anything is possible in this new world.
You know, in a beautiful world of the internet. Pokken, which is a Tekken-style fighting game with Pokemon. Matt brought that up. It was later ported to Switch. Then Matt also brought up Star Fox Zero.
I can't believe we missed Star Fox Zero because I played that a little bit and I'm such a Star Fox fan. I just wanted to forget about that game, I guess.
Yeah, it was met with harsh criticism as the game forced to use the Wii U gamepad to play. And the game played like a regular Star Fox game on the TV, but you'd have to use motion controls of the gamepad to aim your lasers, and more precisely aiming, you had to look down at the gamepad screen for a cockpit view, which seems difficult.
Yeah, it was very weird.
Star Fox Zero also included the Star Fox Guard as a bundled game, and this was like a tower defense style. I feel like we talked about this Star Fox Guard game. Did we mention that at some
we
point?
didn't on the podcast. We talked about it after when Matt sent this email. I think I talked about it because I was like, man, it came with Star Fox Guard too. It was very weird how they included it, because usually when a game comes with like another game or like there's a second disc to it, they just include like 2 discs in the same box. But this one came in like a big box with 2 separate games. So it had Star Fox Zero and then Star Fox Guard, and they were just completely separate. It was very weird.
Oh, this is the one that's like Five Nights at Freddy's security camera footage, it says.
Yeah.
Weird. What a weird choice.
It's pretty weird.
All right, the next game, and it was both Matt and Eric mentioned this, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. It surprised that Tyler forgot to mention this. That's what Matt says. As it was originally a series of puzzle minigames in Super Mario 3D World. They turned these video games into a full-fledged game and released it on the Wii U, and there are also enhanced ports of it on the 3DS and the Switch. And then Eric said Captain Toad also deserves a mention. It was based on some extra levels in the already mentioned as great 3D World, but interesting enough to be different. The only Mario game where there was no ability to jump, which was a brave move, also a really great soundtrack. So thank you, Eric, for including that.
That game has slipped under my radar because it's been released 3 times now, and as such a big Super Mario 3D World fan, I still have yet to play it. And I really love the Toad levels in Super Mario 3D World.
I'm going to say...
just a game full of them, so maybe I should pick this game up.
I'm going to say you just don't like Toad. I'm going to start a rumor.
That's not true. Toad's like my favorite.
Okay, I was going to start a rumor. I guess I won't now. It was close.
Thanks.
Close. Okay. The final game is one that Matt mentions, and it's prepare for some spicy hot takes on this, and that's Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. That's what it is, but it's like a hashtag sign. So I'm glad he put that in there because he knew I would screw it up. Thank you, Matt. You know I can't read very well. Okay. Tied with Super Mario Maker as my personal favorite Wii U game, Matt. Whoa. This is a collaboration between Nintendo's Intelligent Systems, which were the makers of the Fire Emblem series, and Atlas, who were the makers of the Shin Megami Tensei, or more recently, the Persona series.
Oh,
originally,
you had my interest, but now you have my attention.
Yeah, originally codenamed as Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem, this project was reworked and became Tokyo Mirage Sessions TMS SMT. I see what they did.
Oh yeah, okay.
I see what you're doing. Okay. This was an RPG very similar to Persona games, where a group of teenagers work in the Japanese showbiz as pop stars, actors and actresses, and so on. When the characters enter the game's equivalent of the Shadow World, they battle mirages, which are like the demons from Persona. Using their own mirages, the characters transform Sailor Moon style into their Carnage forms, which resemble popular Fire Emblem characters like Chrom and Tharja, or is that how you say it? Tharja? I think so.
I don't know.
Battles are very similar to the Persona-style battle system, where you want to exploit enemy weaknesses using magic and abilities. The game also incorporates the Fire Emblem weapon triangle system of sword beats axe, axe beats lance, and lance beats sword. Exploiting weaknesses allows active party members as well as benched party members to perform follow-up attacks called sessions, some of which include brief musical interludes that deal a lot of damage. Also, battles take place on a concert stage, and the crowd in the background will wave glow sticks when you win. That sounds amazing. And here comes the hot take. This is the one game Matt hopes gets ported to Switch someday. Tokyo Mirage Sessions personally spoiled me for Persona 5, which released a year later, and so I think it's actually a better game than Persona 5. Hashtag hot take or sharp hot take, depending on what you're looking at before. Matt, thank you. Matt sent
that is a hot take.
Matt and Eric, great points, both. And the cool thing is they both talked about the games, but they didn't overlap at all. They did different things they talked about. So thank you both for your emails, Matt and Eric. You're wonderful. And now we're going to move on to the actual title of the show.
I got to pick up Tokyo Mirage Sessions, I think. I really hope it gets a Switch port because I don't want to buy another Wii U game, but that game sounds awesome.
That sounds cool. Well, I mean, I wonder if it's as long as Persona, because isn't that the thing about Persona is it's super duper long.
So long.
I can look. There's a website called howtobeat.com. I could just look this up right now.
Well, don't do it now. Let's talk about the Nintendo DS. Mike, I've got a question for you.
A question for me?
Yeah, a question for you.
Okay, what's your question?
Okay, so it's 2004, right?
I remember.
Think back to 2004.
I was a sophomore in high
you
school.
like your Game Boy Advance, right?
I loved my Game Boy Advance.
It's pretty cool. How many screens would you say it has?
I remember correctly, it has one screen.
Oh, one. Okay.
Yeah.
How many buttons does it have on the face? How many face buttons does it have?
Two buttons. An A and a B, I believe.
Just two. Just A and B, huh?
Just A and B.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what would be a probably a direct improvement over this.
What's that, Tyler?
2 screens, 4 face buttons.
Stop digging. You've struck oil, Tyler. That's amazing.
Oh, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet, Mike. For good measure, how about one of those screens is, I don't know, a touch screen? So if you thought 2 face buttons were good and 4 were even better, now you have infinity buttons with a touch screen.
What am I living in Star Trek right now? Where is this technology coming from?
This is basically the holodeck in your pocket. It's the
crazy.
freaking Nintendo DS.
Oh, the Nintendo DS. I love it so much. Development on the Nintendo DS began around mid-2002, and the idea for a dual-screen console came from Hiroshi Yamauchi, the Nintendo president at the time. Revolutionary, that one. And then on November 13th, 2003, Nintendo announced that it would be releasing a new game product in 2004. But the company, Nintendo didn't give any details, but they stated, and this is really important, it would not succeed the Game Boy Advance or GameCube. They were making a whole new thing. They're like, it's not another Game Boy, it's not another home system. So then, on January 20th, 2004, the console was announced under the code name Nintendo DS. So, not really a code name. But we'll get into that later, I guess. Okay. Nintendo only had a couple details they released at the time, saying the console would have 2 separate 3-inch TFT LCD display panels, separate processors, and up to 1 gigabit. That's 128 megabytes of memory. Just get out of town for a console. I don't know if that's good or not. I have no
crazy.
idea. Yeah. Nintendo really pushed the idea that this console was the future. It was futuristic. And even Nintendo president Satoru Iwata said, quote, "We have developed Nintendo DS based upon a completely different concept from existing game devices in order to provide players with a unique entertainment experience for the 21st century," end quote. So here comes the future. It's coming at you right now. Tyler, are you ready for the future? This is what's happening.
Oh, I'm so ready for the future. I need as many screens as possible in the future.
And from a Nintendo perspective, by the way, Nintendo at the time felt they had this conservative image, which is weird to think that they already, at this point, toured up. Oh, no, they didn't team up yet with a Playboy model. So this is the conservative image times. This is pre-Bayonetta 2. So there was no Playboy help at all in this. And so Iwata was hoping that the DS would break that whole idea, that they become just Nintendo. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They just do what they want to do because they're Nintendo. They're not conservative at all. They're crazy. All right? So then, in March 2004, there was a leak. There was a leaked document, yeah. And that document listed all the tech specs for the Nintendo DS. Now, was this really a leak? That's the question you got to ask, I feel like, now. You know what I mean? Because when things are leaked now, it's like, was it leaked on purpose?
Oh, yeah. That's a fact.
So we don't know that. I'm wondering about that. But they actually showed this time the Nintendo development name of the DS was, quote, Nitro. That's a way cooler name.
How do you feel about that name as a code name? Because I know you're big on code names.
I'm big on code names. I think that should have been, if it was the Nintendo Nitro instead of the Nintendo DS, how cool would that be? And you got a cool,
it's pretty cool,
skater die style name. Okay. It's awesome. So it's like you play your Nintendo Nitro while you're doing backflips on your dirt bike. That's what it sounds like to me. So in May 2004, the console was shown in prototype form at E3 2004, and it was under the name Nintendo DS at this time. It was still Nintendo DS. Everyone's like, oh, well, they haven't figured out a name for it. Then on July 28th, 2004, Nintendo revealed a new design that they described was sleeker and more elegant. And then that one shown at E3 was announced at Nintendo DS, and that was the official name. That was when they said, hey, this is really the name. Okay?
We tried really hard to come up with more than with a new name. We couldn't come up with any. This is it.
They're like, we all did a vote, and DS beat Nitro by 1 vote. And it was a bummer. It was a real big bummer, but we're going with Nintendo DS. So, and this was a pretty important time at Nintendo. Not only did they have that conservative image I mentioned, but there's even a quote about how important this was, because the GameCube kind of didn't do that well in Nintendo's eyes. Like, they needed something more. And Hiroshi Yamauchi was really banking on this being that more product. And in fact, he even has a quote here. It says, quote, "If the DS succeeds, we will rise to heaven. But if it fails, we will sink to hell." Which is way heavy-handed, I think, right? Like, oof.
Yeah, that is, there's no room for interpretation there.
Yeah, it's very real. So marketing-wise, the system's promotional slogans revolve around the word touch because it has a touch screen. And this was in all countries, but the North American slogan was "Touching is good."
I feel like that would not fly today.
Yeah, I feel like they could have spent some more time on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They maybe could have given it the old once over. But okay, so they had that marketing thing going on for them. They're doing their advertisements, touching is good, all that jazz. Let's talk about the launch because that's what we all want to know. And I had a Nintendo DS. I had one. Sold it on Craigslist like a dum-dum. I wish I still had it. It was black. It was sleek. It was beautiful. I had some cool games for it. I had Pokemon Pearl on it.
Nice.
I don't know why I sold it. Maybe because I thought I needed money and I never played it anymore, but I was a fool. I wish I had it to this day still. I think about it all the time. Okay. It's also the reason I'm never getting rid of my Nintendo 2DS, like no matter what. People will be like, hey, Mike, I'll pay you $800 for that. And I'll be like, no way. It's mine. Okay.
You could just buy another 2DS for that.
Yeah, but this one's mine. I spent so many hours with it already. You know, I've slept with my Pikachu DS by my head on my pillow every night, just thinking of it. Okay. So on September 20th, 2004, this is when the announcement of the launch happened. And the announcement was that the Nintendo DS would be released in North America on November 21st, 2004 for a whopping $149.99 US. Now, on August 21st, 2005, the price would then drop to $129.99. I wanted to mention that because, you know, everyone wants to know about price drops, I think. But the cool part about the North American release is they did a midnight launch event at Universal City Walk, EB Games, in Los Angeles, California. That's how dated this was, is there was an EB Games, an electronics boutique.
I was trying to think about that. I was like, there's no EB Games at City Walk anymore, I don't think.
No, because they got bought by GameStop, I think, right?
I don't even think there's a GameStop there.
Oh, yikes. Oh, no. All right. Well, sorry for all you box store video game fans. Electronics, the boutique is closed. So there were 9 official colors of the Nintendo DS, and not all were available everywhere in the world, but I just figured I'd list all of them anyway. Titanium, which is a combination of silver and black. Those were available worldwide. Electric Blue was exclusive to North and Latin America, but there was also a red version, and that came with Mario Kart DS, graphite black, pure white, turquoise blue, candy pink, mystic pink, and cosmic blue. And
not all of these were available at launch, right?
No, not all of them were available at launch. In fact, mystic pink and cosmic pink were just called blue and pink in the US. They had the color attached to them, and they also were paired with Nintendogs. That's not in there, but oh, Nintendogs, how I remember you. I would always be like, why does people buy this game? I have no idea. Okay. The Japanese release of the game, of the DS, was set for December 2nd, 2004. And
whoa. So wait. So the DS came out in Japan after it came out in North America?
And this was confusing to me because we looked up I believe in the Wii podcast, we said that the Nintendo Wii was the first system to release before in North America than Japan. And then this article said that. So I think we found an error in Wikipedia. No surprise there. But this actually came out first. This was released before the first time ever there was a North American release before a Japanese release was the Nintendo DS. Yeah.
Well,
so
today we learned,
and the internet was wrong. No surprises. Okay. So then on December 2nd, 2004, that came out for 15,000 yen. I don't know how much that compares with
roughly $149.99 at the time.
That would be my guess. In Australia, the release took place on February 24th, 2005. So like a whole what's that? That's like 3 months later.
2-3 months later.
Yeah, for $199.95. And then the DS was released in Europe on March 11th, 2005 for £99 or €149.99. There you go. I got your Euro prices too. If you're a European person listening to the podcast, welcome. So,
great.
After receiving over 1 million pre-orders in Japan and North America combined, Nintendo had to put another factory online to fill all the orders, which is pretty great. They pre-ordered that many systems. Yeah. They managed to ship 550,000 units to the US and sold 500,000 of those in the first week. So it looks like they filled all the orders at least
That's great.
Yeah, so they did that. Nintendo purposefully launched the system close to Black Friday. That's something important to know because they're like, this is a shopping
that's probably
time.
why it came out in North America first, is because they probably rushed that date so they could hit Black Friday.
Yeah, and then they ended up selling 1 million units in North America by December 21st, 2004. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's only a month later.
Only a month, but worldwide, they sold 2.8 million units by December 2004, which was
Holy moly.
800,000 more than Nintendo's original forecast. They almost had 1 million more than what they forecasted, which is awesome because, again, this means they're rising to heaven and not descending into hell. So that's good.
It's important.
Yeah, it's important. So for the life of the system combined, and this is from March 2006, March 31st, 2016. This is the lifetime sale. So it's probably more than this by now. But Nintendo sold 154.02 million units. So the Nintendo
Holy
DS
moly.
is easily the best-selling handheld console to date and the second best-selling video game console of all time.
What's sold better than it in a...
I think it's the PlayStation 2. Right?
That sounds right.
Isn't it right?
No, I believe that.
I think that's me spitballing because I think the Wii hit 109 million in its life.
Yeah.
So it's got to be the PlayStation 2. All right. So let's talk about all the neat stuff the DS had. All right, because it was pretty neat. The DS first, and this is very important, had backwards compatibility with the Game Boy Advance, and it was full backwards compatibility. There was a GBA slot in the back of the console, as well as so you could play your DS games on SD cards. And then if you had your old Game Boy Advance games, you could just plug those right into the back. Played no problem. And if you're like, hey, I don't have any Game Boy Advance games, what am I going to use this slot for? Well, don't worry, because that slot also took the Rumble Pack, the DS Memory Expansion Pack, and the guitar grips for Guitar Hero on the Tour series.
Oh, wow. Wow. Guitar Hero on Tour. I remember that game. I remember my friends and I called it Hand Cramp Hero back in the day because that thing was pretty rough.
Hand Cramp Hero is my favorite. I just sing it to Jukebox Hero in my head every time.
Hand Cramp Hero.
He's got pain in his hands. All right, another cool thing about the DS, and this is big, it was region free. Any DS game from anywhere in the world will play on any DS from anywhere in the world.
As it should be.
And this is going to come into play at the very end of this podcast when we talk about something that happened with the DS. So the DS also had multiple accessories. And I mentioned the Rumble Pack and the Memory Expansion Pack, but it also had a headset with a microphone. It had a Wi-Fi USB connector that you plugged into your computer. And this isn't really an accessory, but it had a browser that you could download. And the browser was actually a modified version of Opera browser.
Mm-hmm.
Is Opera
I think
still
it was
a
on
thing?
its own. Yeah, Opera's still a thing. I think it was on its own cartridge. You had to buy it because that's what needed the memory expansion thing that you were talking about in the accessories, the DS memory expander. As far as I know, that's the only thing that used it.
Oh, was Opera? Well, then never mind. I think you're right. Actually, and then there's 3 redesigns for the Nintendo DS. And Tyler, you want to take those and talk about those right now? Because you have a lot more notes on those than I do.
Oh, yeah. So the first redesign was in 2006, so it's been a couple of years since the DS came out. Nintendo's like, we don't want to release a new system, but we're Nintendo, so we want you to buy this thing again. So how can we make it just a little bit better so that you'll want to buy it again? In 2006, they released the DS Lite, which was exactly the same as the regular DS, except it was much smaller, it was much sleeker. It's honestly much cooler looking. It's made of a different kind of plastic that feels really cool. And it also had, the screens were slightly larger, but most importantly, they had the backlit screen that Nintendo had introduced for the newer, brighter Game Boy Advance SP. They put those screens into the DS Lite. And I have heard stories, this is unsubstantiated, but I've heard stories that the fat DS, towards the end of its life before the Lite came out, they actually made a version of that with those backlit screens too. So that's pretty cool. I've never seen that before, but I have heard on the internet rumors of such a device.
I want to let you know, if you want to get a refurbished DS Lite, it'll cost you $42.99 on eBay. If anyone's out there looking.
That's a pretty good deal.
It's super
But
cheap.
otherwise, The DS Lite was just smaller, better version of the DS. I think the buttons were better too. It's my favorite D-pad that Nintendo has made. The DS Lite D-pad and the buttons were a little bit spongier. The original DS had like really clicky like buttons that didn't have very much travel to them, and so they weren't very satisfying to press, and you could kind of press them accidentally. I think the DS Lite fixed a lot of that. It also kept the same Game Boy Advance cartridge slot, although it was a smaller cartridge slot, which is kind of weird because when you put your GBA games in, they stick out a little bit. And so I just think that's interesting because there's really no reason for that, but that's what they did to make it smaller. But yeah, I think that's the best version of the DS. If you want one that has Game Boy Advance compatibility, then you got to get the DS Lite because it has those awesome screens and all the other great features. So that's my favorite one.
Good to know. Tyler's recommendation. DS Lite, get one.
The next hardware refresh they did in 2008, so another couple of years later, Nintendo's gone, we don't want to release a whole new system yet, but how do we get you to buy another one? They released the DSi, which was a little bit more substantial of an upgrade to the DS. It had a new processor that was twice as fast, 137 megahertz versus 134 megahertz versus the 67 megahertz of the original DS. So it was a little bit faster. It could play some higher powered games. I don't think there were any games that were DSi exclusive. We may have to look that up because I'm not sure about that. But what it did introduce was onboard memory. So it had 256 megs of onboard download space so that you could download what Nintendo was calling DSiWare. So they had a much more robust store built for this where you could download DSiWare, similar to like the WiiWare that Nintendo launched with the original Wii. The DSi also had an SD card slot. So if you were so into downloading DSiWare that you just ran out of space on your DSi, you could pop in an SD card full size, no problem, and keep on downloading. What they also added was 2 cameras. They added a front selfie camera and a back camera for taking pictures of stuff, I guess. I'm not really sure why that was very useful, but they added it. There's probably some DSiWare games that made use of that or something like that. But
the 2DS and 3DS have front and back cameras, don't they still?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
They continued.
I guess as a little kid, you want to take pictures of stuff. It's kind of cool. You can do it on your 2DS. But I feel like as an adult, it's like, I'm just going to use my cell phone.
Yeah. On the 3DS, it was kind of cool because the 3DS has 2 cameras and could take 3D pictures, which is like kind of neat in a sort of gimmicky way where you're like, oh, cool. I'm looking at my 3D screen and watching these 3D pictures. Kind of neat. But otherwise, I don't think it was that useful. The other thing that the DSi did that was not that useful was they got rid of the GBA slot. No more compatibility with old GBA games.
Aww, why would they
just
do
kind of a
that?
bummer. Yeah, this is the best version of the original DS, probably, if you don't need Game Boy compatibility. But if you don't need Game Boy compatibility, I think you pretty much get everything you want out of just buying a 3DS because they're backward compatible with all DS
I think
things.
any DS game, like anything with DS in the title, will play on a... Well, you can't play 3DS on a DS, but anything back in time before yours can play it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's backward compatible. They also released a year later, so just in time for people to who have bought the DSi on launch to maybe be feeling like they're okay buying another one. They launched the DSi XL, where they made the screens way bigger, and that's it. They just made bigger screens. And this was at a time, and I think we're still in this kind of time where screens are like, for a long time, technology was getting smaller and smaller every time they came out with a new thing. And then it got to the point where like, okay, wait a minute, this stuff is too small. I actually want something that's bigger. And so the DSi XL kind of capitalized on that, making a bigger screen for those of us who have eyes that appreciate larger screens. But like we do that now with cell phones too. Now it's like, how big is the screen? How big is the screen? Whereas in like 2004, it was, how small is it? How small is it? I think that's
true.
Interesting.
Just look at the iPhone sizes and how those have changed too. It just got smaller and smaller and smaller. And then around the 5, I think, is when it started like getting bigger. Because the 4 was really tiny. I had a 4. That was a really tiny phone.
The screen size on all those were the same from the original up through the 4S. The screen size was the same, and then on the 5 is when they increased the screen size. Yeah, but like on old flip phones, it was all about how small is it? Does it fit in my pocket? You know, and then it was all about getting bigger. So DSi XL. That's pretty cool. Led the way. That was successful, which let Nintendo know that when they made the 3DS, they could do a 3DS XL and all that kind of stuff. So,
do you want to talk about the So there was a thing with the DS where it had a very large following of modding and hacking. And part of it is due to the region thing I talked about where nothing's region locked. So it made it pretty easy. But there was a lot of other stuff that wasn't really locked on the DS. You want to go into that, Tyler?
Yeah, well, they definitely had some form of copy protection on the DS that Nintendo implemented, but hackers were able to get around that. And in, I want to say 2007, the very first R4 card was released, and there would be many imitators of the R4 card, some of which were probably pretty good. But the original R4 card was basically it was kind of an SD card adapter for your DS, and you could load up all kinds of homebrew games on there, emulators and stuff. That there was like a pretty nice, robust homebrew scene for the original DS. I didn't participate too much in that scene a whole lot, just because I didn't. The machine wasn't fast enough to do things like Super Nintendo emulation very well, at least in the earlier days. So I was like not really into that. But I did have an R4 card so that I could play all of the backups of the games that I definitely legally owned.
Of course you legally own them because you're an honest person.
Of course. I just didn't want to carry all those cartridges around with me. So I played them on my R4 card. But that was really what the thing that made that scene was the R4 card, because you just load things straight onto that, and then you could play them directly off of that. And that was pretty neat. But I think towards the end of the DS's lifespan, there was a real piracy problem with the DS, because new games were relatively small compared to like the disc-based games of other systems. So games were like at maximum, I think, 256 megabytes for a DS. And so that's pretty downloadable even in 2008 when this scene was probably at its height. And so you could download that, pop it right onto your DS as soon as the game came out, and there was nothing Nintendo could do about it.
Darn, they got them good.
Yeah, that was it.
There was another thing I read in this article that I took it out, but there was something about how the game was still selling really well in Korea, like the games were selling, and it was because everyone was just using them to make pirated copies. It was like, and the DS itself like had this big sales spike in 2007, I think, because everyone realized that R4 thing came out and everyone was like, oh, we can buy this, we could do this. So
yeah, suddenly it makes good sense for me to spend $150 on a DS because I will never have to buy a game ever again.
Exactly. And then another mod that happened was the thing called Action Replay, and that was by the company Daytel, which is pretty interesting that they have a company name, but it's a device that allowed users to put cheat codes in, and you could essentially hack the games, and you could like get infinite health and power-ups and run around.
Oh, it's like a Game
walls.
Genie.
Yeah, it's a Game Genie, but for DS. So
yeah, I think Daytel is the same company that made the Game Shark. There's a lineage there. You can trace the.
Loved a Game Shark. Thought it was so cool.
Yeah. The Game Shark brand is currently owned by Mad Cats. Oh, rest in peace.
Oh, Mad Cats. What was? I kind of want to do a history of like some of those third party.
Oh yeah,
because like Mad Cats. Is it Tyco?
Oh yeah, with the worm light.
Yeah. There's still some of them. I was actually at a Walmart recently, and I saw a wired Xbox One controller by a company I'd never heard of. And I was like, oh, they're still I mean, I wouldn't mind a wired Xbox One controller, but I'd probably want to get one from Microsoft just to make sure it wouldn't break after a day, just to be sure.
Well, I mean, you can plug a micro USB cable into your Xbox One controller, and
that's true. I'm doing that.
Good to go.
Doing that all the time anyway. Okay, so that's our history on the DS. But next week, we'll talk about the games, and there's going to be so many games, and we're probably going to miss some. But now that we have our unofficial street team out of Eric and Matt, that's what I'm going to call them. They can help us out if we miss some. And if you hear us miss a game and you want to let us know, it's codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. Now,
we need to make sure we get some DSiWare games in there because those will be easy to miss.
Okay.
And I think we need to make sure that stuff is represented. Just making a mental note now for next week. We need to get some DSiWare.
There's also a
games
game I specifically want to talk about because I never played it, but it was very popular among my friends, and that was Brain Age. those like mind games.
I loved Brain Age.
Yeah, so we need to talk about those because there was a group of people in college actually that had those and played those a lot, and I never got a chance to play those. So, you know what? You might have even been in that group, Tyler, because that was when we first met.
I might have been.
Okay, so Tyler, what have you been playing?
This week, I have been playing, let me think real quick, a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 3 while watching Kelly play Kingdom Hearts 3, but I've been playing, most of my game time this week has been World of Final Fantasy, which sounds like the MMO version of Final Fantasy. It's not. That's Final Fantasy 14. World of Final Fantasy, I think I talked about it last week, is a very cute kind of mashup of a lot of different Final Fantasy stuff with its own storyline that's fun. But it's a standard JRPG with some Pokemon aspects that I'm having a lot of fun playing. And then after that, I guess I'm going to be looking for Tokyo Mirage Sessions and seeing if I can get a good copy of that for Wii U, because apparently I need to play that.
Oh, yeah.
And I've also been playing Destiny, of course, always playing Destiny.
Always.
And I feel like there's one other thing. Oh, I played another couple more rounds of Risk of Rain 2, but I talked about that last week too, I think. So.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you, what is World of Final Fantasy on?
It's on PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One.
Do you have it on Switch? Is that what you're playing it on?
Yeah, playing it on Switch. I bought it for PlayStation 4, put about 10 hours into it. I was like, this game's great. Then I put it down, didn't pick it up ever again. And then it came out on PC, and I was like, oh, I still want to play this game. Should I buy it on PC? And I didn't buy it on PC. That was a good move because they released it on Switch, and now I've realized that I just want everything on Switch.
Switch is the best. Still thinking about getting one of those, but I got a new toy to use when I'm gone, and that is I bought a nice gaming laptop. That's what I'm actually recording on right now, and that's what I'll edit all the podcasts on. It's kind of like a thing my old laptop was very much, it wasn't bad, it was just roughing it, and I'm actually going to fix it up and give it to my mom, because she's like, will that be fast? I'm like, well, let me put a solid state drive in that for you, mother, and then it'll be great for what you need. Yeah, so I'm going to do that with this old one. And then I realized it's cool because I don't even have to move my files over. I can just leave them on that hard drive and then get an enclosure. It's going to be great. But
oh, nice.
Yeah, so because that's where all our old podcast files are at. So I'll definitely be doing that. But I'm going to save them in a different place first. Don't worry, Tyler. We won't lose it. I'm going to upload those to Google Drive or something before I experiment with the new hard drive. But I've been actually bought on Xbox One. There was a sale. And I've been wanting to buy this and replay it for a long time. And I got Skyrim Special Edition.
Ooh.
And I'm having a great time.
Love Skyrim.
I'm having a great time with it. I've been just like kind of playing like an hour a day or like even like 30 minutes a day, just kind of like doing a dungeon and then stopping. And I could just see myself doing this for like a year or two, just picking it up, putting it down. It's great because I've already beaten the game and I'm just having a really good time replaying the old missions that I love. Like I just became a werewolf again. Oh, so great.
Yeah, Skyrim is really one of those like just you can constantly come back to it whenever you're feeling like it. Like there's just always like a Skyrim itch that needs to be scratched.
Yeah, and I'm also playing it in a very different way than I usually play. I'm doing that on purpose. I am building a battle mage character because I never use magic at all. In Skyrim, in Elder Scrolls games, I never use magic. And so I made a Breton, and I have destruction, conjuration, and then also I'll do a little alteration and stuff on there too, as like my main magic skills. But I am loving just like conjuring up flame Atronach ladies and just sitting back while they fight for me. It's great. It's perfect. But yeah, it's been really great. And I'm actually thinking too, because it comes with all the expansions on it, and I'm going to become a werewolf like I am. I'm going to get that tree all the way to the top, and then I'm going to become a vampire in the same character, I think, and switch over.
Wow, werewolf and a vampire.
Yeah, because you can switch over when you have the Dawn Guard expansion, which is cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I haven't played any of the expansions. I should get back into that.
Oh, man, I've never played the Solstheim one, the dragon something one. I forget what it's called. It's like the one where you can like ride dragons or something like that. It's like the last expansion. But I actually remember because the Island of Solstheim was a DLC for Morrowind. So I actually been to Solstheim before, but I'm going to go to it again in a new game like hundreds of years later, and I'm super excited. I just love Elder Scrolls, I think, man. It really does it for me. Like a lot of games like that, I turn podcasts on and listen to those while I play. This one, I just listen to the story and the music. I'm just really into it.
Yeah, it's on Switch too. Maybe I'll buy the Switch version.
Oh, you could get that Switch version, and then you could just play Skyrim anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
What's the battery life like on the Switch when you're playing it just off of the...
It's not like original Game Boy levels. It's probably like 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6.
So like
it depends on what you're doing. If the game is more intense than other games, then you'll get like 4 or 5 hours. But you can get like 6 or 7 on some games.
For like a flight, that's perfect.
Oh yeah, I think it's fine because I mean the idea is that you're sort of playing it half of it. Half the time I'm playing in portable mode, half the time I'm playing when it's hooked up to the TV, and when it's hooked up to the TV, it's charging, so it doesn't leave its base for very long. Nice.
Do you take it to work with you?
Sometimes, but I don't really have a whole lot of time to play at work, so
that's true.
I take it with me under like I'm like, yeah, and then at lunch I'm gonna play Switch, and then I end up just eating lunch and not playing Switch.
We all live that life. Well, this is yeah, and then Tyler and I are also still playing Destiny 2 and getting annoyed with the Reckoning, only because we're getting match made poorly. It seems like, I don't know. I want to blame my teammates.
I'm sure it's because Bungie hates me. It's because Bungie hates me personally.
Oh, it's you personally.
Tyler, you get the worst.
Because I logged in without Tyler, and then I beat it. I got lucky, I should say, and I found three good teammates, and we just beat it 4 times in a row. It was really lucky.
Nice.
And they wanted to keep going, and I was like, guys, I just hit my bounty. Goodbye. But yeah, it was pretty fun. So we'll play that. We'll beat that, though. We'll get that done for you, you know? We got to get all those armors.
Yeah. That's right.
And I just got my first piece of 290 gear, so I'm getting close to that or 690 gear, not 290. 690 gear. I'm getting close. I'm feeling it.
You're getting there.
Cool. Well, I think that's all for today, right, Tyler? You got anything else to add?
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm excited for next week because I got a lot of DS games that I loved, and it's the DS is just that period of my life where I played a lot of DS. It's just like a very happy time for me to think back on too. So I just enjoy thinking about the DS times.
Get ready for a total nostalgia cast. All right.
Let's do it.
You can always contact us at codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at Tyler at sneakerelf with ELPH. You can tweet at me at mecoletta, MECOLETTA. And then you can also just rate, review, and subscribe to it on whatever podcasting service you use. That helps us out a lot. And with that, I think we're done. Do you want to say bye to the listener, Tyler?
Yeah. Bye to the listener, Tyler.
This has been a Podaholics Comedy Network presentation. Podaholics.com